Hello everyone and welcome to this repair video. In this video I'm going to be showing you how to change the Vauxhall Corsa 1 litre tie rod ends. Enjoy! Okay, so these are the tools we're going to be using to do the job. I've got them all laid out, got jack stands down there. I'll just talk you through each thing. You will need pretty much all of these things to do this job successfully. So over here, first off, just got a socket set, all the different size sockets. It's not a necessity, but as long as you've got the right socket for the job, then you'll be fine. WD-40. If your car is rusty and old, this is almost a must. These bolts can get really rusty because they're right beside the wheel. Got a wire brush just in case we've got any debris to take off. This is a tie rod joint remover tool. It's sort of tapered at the end and gives you good leverage to get the thing out. I'll show you how that's used when we actually get to it. A hammer just in case we need to go Jeremy Clarkson style on it and knock a few things. We've got a breaker bar here to get the wheels off to start with, because obviously we're going to need to get the wheels off to access the tie rods. Some extra sockets just in case, some spanners, the tie rod ends themselves, you've got one for each side, left and right. Just doing the front ones today. Some protective stuff, glasses, gloves, can't go wrong. And obviously jack stands and a jack to lift the car up. Okay, so if I remove this wheel trim, that releases the 4 studs just here. They're all 17mm, just there. I'm just going to use my breaker bar to break them all loose before we get the car jacked up. Same thing on the other side. So now we've got those bolts loosened on the wheels, I'm just going to slide the jack under. I'm going to put it on the subframe. I'll try and show you guys when I do it. Subframe is usually the best place to go on the side, just because it's the most solid part in the car. So let me try and get a good angle. About there is usually good, if you can see that. Lift the car up. Just do it until you see the wheel lift off the floor, like so. I'm going to put my jack stand right here on the normal jack point, whereas on the sill, just alongside there. So I'm just going to slide the jack under now. Oh, one more lift. There we go. And just let it down nice and gently. There we go, it's one side done. Okay, so now that we have the car jacked up off the ground both sides, I'm just going to take all the bolts out of the wheels now. And remove the wheel. So there it is, that reveals the tie rod end here. It's just to the left of the hub assembly and the brake disc, just this part here. And as you can see, it's a ball joint. Okay, so before we do anything, before we undo any bolts, what I'm first going to do is count the threads that come after the adjuster nut. Let me just find my torch, put it in my pocket. If you can see that, no you can't, hang on, there you can see, that's the threads that come after the adjuster. You want to count them and remember how many there are. So there's 10 on mine, because you're not going to keep that nut exactly where it is when you put the new ones on, because otherwise your tracking's going to be out and it's going to be a whole nother ball game. don't know if you can see that on the actual tie rod, on the adjuster nut. There's so much corrosion on there. What I plan on doing is using a wire brush, this, to get some of that away, and then I'm going to spray it with some WD-40, and hopefully that will give us enough penetration to actually get that bolt undone a bit. So now I've counted my threads, got a spanner on there, adjustable spanner because my other spanners weren't long enough. I'm now going to lay under there and try and crack it open. The adjuster nut obviously going to be turning that way, lefty loosey, so let's give it a go. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. Oh, there we go, I've got it. Thank God for that. Took a little persuading, but you see it's moving now. Perfect. Right, now that the bolt's all the way down, right to the bottom of the thread, there's like probably about a centimetre of thread there, so that when I pull it up, the bolt will stop the thing from popping all the way out. So I'm going to use my tie rod end tool. I'm just going to stick it in there like that, push it in a tiny bit, and just lever up. Push it in a bit more, lever up. Let's just straighten that tie rod out a little bit. Get under a bit more, lift, under. It's a steady process, you just have to, there we go, you hear it pop. And now I've got all that movement there, you see. And the bolt stopped it from going pew right up. Next step, once we've got that bolt loose, all we've got to do is take the bolt again off the bottom, 17mm. Ta-da! Pop it out, and it's just a case of twisting the old tie rod off of the end. Quite a few threads. There we go. That is our prize. Do the same on the other side. So here's the prize. This is our two tie rods that were on the vehicle. You can see on this one especially, got a massive tear in the actual rubber itself. You see that? Gaping hole. This one wasn't a lot better. There's a small hole just there. But, yeah, it's time to change them. The reason I'm changing these in the first place is because they were actually advisory on the last MOT that the vehicle had, and to save the garage doing it and save me money, I figured I'd grab me some new ones and just do it myself. It is a DIY job. They're only £11 something each, so about £22 for the both, and it's something you can do at home if you've got the right spanners and tools. So let's put these ones on the car. Okay, so now that we have that area lit up a bit more, here's the track rod itself. The nut's still on there, the adjuster nut. Remember how many threads you had at the start? Make sure that you get as close to that as you possibly can when you put the new one back on. Yeah, in the kit you do get another bolt, and you get another retaining bolt for the actual tie rod end itself. I'm not going to use them, just because this one is pretty set where it is, and I just can't be bothered to move it, to be honest with you. So let's just count the threads and then we can put the new one back on. So all I'm going to do is grab the new tie rod and seam out a tiny bit. Just going to screw it onto the end, like so, all the way to the adjuster nut so that they're touching. I've obviously got to adjust that nut a tiny bit. We'll stick that in. Into the small bit of persuasion needed. We'll stick the old bolt on the bottom. These don't need to be ridiculously tight anyway, on the bottom there. But before we tighten that right up, I'm just going to get onto this adjuster nut and tighten it up so that it's nice and snug. And again. Let's just see where we are on threads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect still. I'm just gonna tighten up a tiny bit more. And that is job done. Same to the other side, exactly the same thing to do, and it's sorted. So that's it, tie rod ends on, all tightened up. You don't want to tighten this bottom nut too tight, one on the bottom, sorry, under there. You don't want to do it too tight that you end up splitting the rubber again, just enough that it holds. Now all there's time's left to do is put the wheel back on and call it done. Just going to stick our wheel on, put our 4 bolts in, and this job will be nice and done. Just going to snug them up. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial on how to change a Vauxhall Corsa tie rod end. I hope there's enough information there for you. If you want to see anything else done on a Vauxhall Corsa, comment below. Comment if you thought I did anything wrong. I'm not a professional mechanic by any means. This is just one of those jobs that you can do yourself, having a little bit of knowledge and the right tools. So I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!